The last 10 minutes make the movie. What movies is this true for? The Descent, one of the few movies I can think of that actually got my adrenaline going throughout. And that ending, goddamn. I also pretend the sequel doesn't exist, so that helps. Only other movie I can think of that gave me a rush like that was Heat, specifically the bank robbery. Swear to God my heart rate must have been 180 BPMs. That was a fantastic film through and through. Also fits with the theme cause those last 10-20 minutes are impactful as hell. Recent movie Saltburn. It nearly lost me as it got more and more absurd and just depressingly bleak, but the last 10 minutes made the whole movie into something unique and interesting, whether you saw it coming or not. Older movie Ransom. How they pull it all together at the end is just very satisfying. I've seen it 20 times by this point, and it never gets old. Old Boy 2003 from Park Chan-wook. The movie paces itself fairly slowly, and it gets weird as it develops. You're never quite sure what's going on, but the last 10 minutes of the film explain what's going on and why it all happened. It's honestly the single greatest WTF moment I've ever seen in a film. Anchorman 2. The movie is one those cheesy stupid comedy movie for people that are high. During the ending though they nail the final punchline of explaining why news is the way it is. Today, it turned what was a lame comedy movie into something of a brilliant parody. Power of the Dog. I thought the movie was pretty slow, and if it wasn't nominated for Best Picture, I probably wouldn't have finished it. The last 10 minutes of that movie really tied the whole thing together so well that it made me want to rewatch the whole thing. Blazing Saddles. So many comments listing movies that are good with great endings. Blazing Saddles is mediocre at best and I'd argue just flat out bad with a great ending. And if not for the last bit would not have stood the test of time. Phantom Thread. Without the last 10 minutes is an understated, if well acted, period piece about people involved in a world I'm not all that interested in. With the last 10 minutes is one of my favorite movies in recent memory. I'm the first one in with Casablanca. I'm no good at being noble, but it doesn't take much to see that the problems of three little people don't amount to a hill of beans in this crazy world. Lamar people are just posting movies that have a twist. Under that logic you should just read the last 20 pages of every mystery novel. Apparently everything before is just a waste of time, haha. Bone Tomahawk. Not exactly the last 10 minutes, but the first acts are a very competent western. The third act is a wild nightmare that's almost a completely different genre of movie. Little Miss Sunshine. I had hit the point where I wasn't even sure I wanted to finish it because I wasn't entertained. Then the ending happened and I laughed so hard I was crying. 12 Monkeys. When you learn what the protagonist's dream really was. Truth is, that reveal is taken from an older experimental French film whose title escapes me at the moment. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's the kind of ending that the whole movie builds up to, and is so good that it makes the rest of the movie worse on rewatch. Fantastic movie. Rogue One. First 90-odd minutes were serviceable. The last 10 minutes though were really good, and I think it's what people generally talk about when remembering this film. Waltz with Bashir. I love the entire thing, but the final moments pack a punch that completely subverts the surreal, uncanny tone dominating the majority of the runtime. Paranormal Activity. Or movie long. There's some vaguely unsettling stuff, with maybe a small scare here or there, until the end of the movie, when shit hits the fan. Pulp Fiction only works as a story because of the last scene. The entire rest of the movie is a giant reflecting pool present for the sake of displaying that scene. The Hateful Eight. Don't get me wrong. I love the banter and the slow burn, but that one gunshot from the basement along with the rest of the reveal, amazing. Requiem for a Dream. You'll watch most of it thinking you came out unscathed, and then you will see the last 10 minutes and be changed forever. First Saw movie was entertaining for a gore splatter whatever, but when Kramer stood up and was playing there all the time made it so great for me. Shutter Island is 2 hours 19 minutes long. If you skip the final 10 minutes you have wasted 2 hours 09 of your time. Change my mind. Jurassic Park. They didn't slack off at the end, and that Trex Roar at the end became and still is my phone ringtone. War Games 1983. Without the last 10 minutes, we would never know if you could win by playing the game. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny say what you will about that movie, but that ending is super cool. The Trouble with Harry. It's an early 1950s Hitchcock film. It's dumb and annoying until the end, having already set a high bar. The denouement of Sophie's Choice raises it further, and then some. Cabin in the Woods, without a doubt. The ending subverts the genre in a fun and unpredictable way. 3:10 to Yuma. The very last 10 minutes just brings the whole movie together. It's great western. All that jazz. The ending is transcendental and is one of the greatest endings of all time. The entire movie is great, but the last few minutes of The Departed are cathartic. Remember Me with Robert Pattinson. You didn't say make the movie good. Inglourious Bastards. Hans Lander getting a masterpiece carved into his forehead. The new Indiana Jones is not great, but the last 10 minutes or so are so cool. Rogue One. It would have been nowhere near as impactful without that scene. The Sixth Sense. Don't tell anybody the ending if they haven't seen it. The Lone Ranger has an amazing last 10 minutes. Where was that movie? Jacob's Ladder. The last shot makes the whole movie click into place. The Usual Suspects. Except it is the last 2 minutes that make the movie. The Mist. It's not the best movie ever, but the ending. Holy hell. Primal Fear. There never was an Aaron gives me chills every time. The original Blade Runner is what made me think of this question. Titanic for sure. I've never seen a drama go to a comedy so fast. I don't know if it was the last 10 minutes exactly. At Memento. Death Proof. Sick ending. But the majority is super slow going. Bohemian Rhapsody. Was a decent biopic until the Live Age show. Home Alone. All the good stuff happens in the last 10 minutes. Buried. With Ryan Reynolds, y'all. That ending was not okay. Hot Fuzz. Good movie throughout. Great movie at the end. The Mist is a mediocre monster movie up until the ending. Paranormal Activity. The last bit of the movie is the best. La La Land. Or it ruins the movie. Depends who you ask. The Knowing. Good movie until the last 10-15 minutes.